Hi, my name is Mo, and this is KCMO Sports. I'm going to be talking about the National League East this week. First, I'm going to start off with the Washington Nationals. At first base, they got Adam LaRoche. At second base, they got Danny Espinosa. At third base, they got Ryan Zimmerman. At shortstop, they got Ian Desmond. In left field, they got Bryce Harper. In center field, they got Denard Span. In right field, they got Jason Worth. And at catcher, they got Kurt Suzuki. For their starting pitching, at number 1, they got Steven Strasburg, who in 28 starts he went 15-6, 3.16 ERA, and 197 strikeouts. At number 2, we got Gio Gonzalez, who had 32 starts last season, went 21-8, 2.89 ERA, and 207 strikeouts. At number 3, they got Jordan Zimmerman, who in 32 starts went 12-8, 2.94 ERA, and 153 strikeouts. At number 4, they got Ross Detweiler, who in 33 games, 27 starts, went 10-8, 3.40 ERA, 105 strikeouts. And at number 5, we got Dan Herron, who in 30 starts went 12-13, 4.33 ERA, and 142 strikeouts. Very, very good starting rotation, and arguably probably the best rotation in the major leagues this season. And for the relief pitching, I got a couple of guys I want to point out. Rafael Soriano, the new closer who they got from the Yankees. Last season had 69 games, went 2-1, 2.26 ERA, 42 saves and 46 save opportunities, and 69 strikeouts. And also wanted to talk about Tyler Clippard, who went 74 games, went 2-6, 3.72 ERA, 32 saves and 37 save opportunities, and 84 strikeouts. Now I'm going to be talking about the New York Mets. At first base, we got Ike Davis. At second base, we got Daniel Murphy. Third base, we got David Wright. Shortstop, Ruben Tejada. Right field, we got Mike Baxter. And also threw on Colin Cowgill because he could compete for a starting job. At center field, we got Kirk Neuenhaus or something like that, and also threw on Marlon Byrd because that's a new someone new that they signed on, and he could also compete for a starting job. In left field we got Lucas Duda, and at catcher we got John Buck. And for the starting rotation, they got 8 guys, so they got good depth there. Number 1, they got Johan Santana, who in 21 starts went 6-9, 4.85 ERA, and 111 strikeouts. I also wanted to point out that no-hitter that he had last season. That was like the first in his career. And number 2, we got John Neese, who in 30 starts went 13-9, 3.40 ERA, and 155 strikeouts. At number 3, we got Sean Markham, who in 21 starts went 7-4, 3.70 ERA, and 109 strikeouts. At number 4, we got Dylan Gee, who in 17 starts went 6-7, 4.10 ERA, and 97 strikeouts. At number 5, we got Matt Harvey, who in 10 starts went 3-5, 2.73 ERA, and 70 strikeouts. At number 6, we got Jenry Mejia, who in 5 games had 3 starts, 1-2, 5.63 ERA, and 8 strikeouts. At number 7, we got Jeremy Hefner, who in 26 games had 13 starts, went 4-7, 5.09 ERA, and 62 strikeouts. And number 8, we got Colin McHugh, who had 8 games, 4 starts, went 0-4, 7.59 ERA, and 17 strikeouts. And the one person I want to point out in the bullpen is closer Frank Francisco, who in 48 games went 1-3, 5.53 ERA, 47 strikeouts, 23 saves, and 26 save opportunities. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the Florida Marlins. At first base, we got Logan Morrison. At second base, we got Donovan Solano. At third base, we got veteran Placido Polanco, who played for the Phillies last season. At shortstop, they got Adini Hechavarria. In left field, we got Juan Pierre. Center field, we got Justin Ruggiano. In right field, we got Giancarlo Stanton. And catcher, we got Rob Brantley. And these guys definitely have pitching depth in starting pitching and relief pitching. At number 1, we got Ricky Nolasco, who in 31 starts went 12-13, 4.48 ERA, and 125 strikeouts. At number 2, we got Jacob Turner, who in 10 starts went 2-5, 4.42 ERA, and 36 strikeouts. At number 3, we got Henderson Alvarez, who in 31 games started went 9-14, 4.85 ERA, and 79 strikeouts. At number 4, we got Nathan Eovaldi, who in 22 starts went 4-13, 4.30 ERA, and 78 strikeouts. At number 5, we got Wade LeBlanc, 25 games, went 9 starts, 2-5, 3.67 ERA, and 43 strikeouts. At number 6, we got Brad Hand, who in 1 start went 0-1, 17.18 ERA, 3 strikeouts, and he lasted 3.2 innings pitched. That was his rookie debut, though, by the way. So he could possibly land a starting job, because he's still a rookie and still needs to develop a little bit more. And his 1 start was definitely horrible, bad. Yeah. At number 7, we got Tom Coyler, who in 8 games had 1 start with 0-1, 5.40 ERA, and 13 strikeouts. And at number 8, we got Alex Sanabia, who did not play in 2012, but his career stats, he played in 18 games, 14 starts, 5-3, 3.67 ERA, and 55 strikeouts. And like I said, they have 9 guys in the bullpen, so they have depth there. And at closer, they got Steve Kishak, who in 68 games went 5-2, 2.69 ERA, and 68 strikeouts with 15 saves and 19 save opportunities. Next up is the Atlanta Braves. At first base, we got Freddie Freeman. At second base, we got Dan Uggla. Third base, we got Chris Johnson, who they got from the Houston Astros. At shortstop, we got Andrelton Simmons, who looks like he's going to be a pretty solid shortstop. I mean, he had great numbers in the minors and did play in about 44 games, I believe, or something like that, last year. So he should be pretty decent at shortstop. And left field, we got Justin Upton. The center field, we got B.J. Upton, the 2 brothers on the same team, so that should be pretty cool. Right field, we got Jason Hayward, and catcher, we got Brian McCann. In starting rotation, we got number 1, Tim Hudson, who had 28 starts, went 16-7, 3.62 ERA, and 102 strikeouts. At number 2, we got Chris Medlin, who in 50 games had 12 starts, went 10-1, 1.57 ERA, and 120 strikeouts. At number 3, we got Mike Minor, who in 30 starts went 11-10, 4.12 ERA, and 145 strikeouts. At number 4, we got Paul Malone, who in 32 games had 31 starts, went 13-11, 3.67 ERA, and 140 strikeouts. At number 5, we got Brandon Beachy, who in 13 starts, went 5-5, 2.00 ERA, and 68 strikeouts. And at number 6, we got Julio Teheran, who in 2012 played 2 games, 1 start, with 0-0, 5.68 ERA, and 5 strikeouts. And the closer, Craig Kimbrell, and that's for their bullpen, as I'm pointing out their closer, went 63 games, 3-1, 1.01 ERA, 42 saves, 45 save opportunities, and 116 strikeouts. And now lastly, we got the Philadelphia Phillies. At first base, we got Ryan Howard. At second base, we got Chase Utley. At third base, we got Michael Young. At shortstop, we got Jimmy Rollins. At left field, we got Dominic Brown. In center field, we got Ben Revere, who they traded Vance Worley to get from the Minnesota Twins. And right field, we got Delman Young. And at catcher, we got Carlos Ruiz. And then for starting rotation, at number 1, we got Cole Hamels, who had 31 starts, 17-6, 3.05 ERA, and 216 strikeouts. At number 2, we got Cliff Lee, who in 30 starts went 6-9, 3.16 ERA, and 207 strikeouts. Now, the weird thing about that, he had 30 starts, he had a pretty good ERA with 3.16, a lot of strikeouts, But then his record is only 6-9. I mean, I would expect more wins than losses out of him. But anyways, at number 3 you got Roy Halladay, which is surprising because I would think Roy Halladay would be the number 1. They have it listed as number 3, probably because he's injury prone now and did miss a few starts last season. Had 25 starts though, went 11-8, 4.49 ERA and 132 strikeouts, so definitely took a step back last season. Hopefully he could bounce back this season. At number 4 we got Kyle Kendrick, who in 37 games had 25 starts, went 11-12, 3.90 ERA and 116 strikeouts. And number 5 we got John Lannon, who was a former Nationals pitcher, pitched for him from 2007 to 2012. Last season only had 6 starts, went 4-1, 4.13 ERA and 17 strikeouts, and spent most of the season in AAA, who had 24 starts, went 9-11, 4.30 ERA and 86 strikeouts, so he should be a pretty decent number 5 starter. And for their bullpen, they have a lot of depth. They have 11 guys in the bullpen. So, and I just want to point out Jonathan Papelbon, who went in 70 games, 5-6, 2.44 ERA, 92 strikeouts, 38 saves, and 42 save opportunities. Lastly, I just want to rank each team. I think for just a division, and I think number 1 is going to be the Washington Nationals, just because they have a really good offense. You know, you got Adam LaRoche, who just came off a really good season, Ryan Zimmerman, who just came back off a good bounce-back season, Ian Desmond, who's starting to show some power, Bryce Harper, of course, is definitely one of the top offensive guys on the team, Jason Worth, who has pretty good power, and then they have a great rotation, you know, Steven Strasburg, Gio Gonzalez, Jordan Zimmerman, Dan Herron, Ross Detweiler, and of course they got the bullpen. You know, they just added on Rafael Soriano to be their new closer. So I definitely think they have all three, you know, offense, pitching, and relief pitching. So they got it. At number 2, I think it'll be the Atlanta Braves, only because they added the 2 brothers, BJ and Justin Upton. So that definitely is going to help them out a lot. Plus they got Chris Johnson, who's replaced Chipper Jones at third base because Chipper Jones retired. Plus their rotation doesn't look too bad, and they have a pretty good bullpen. So I think they'll be number 2 in the division. Number 3. Now, this was kind of tough, actually. I was picking between Atlanta and Phillies, and I definitely almost had Phillies at number 2. But what made me put them at number 3 is because their infielders are aging. You know, Michael Young, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, they're all getting old, and they're all injury prone, except maybe not Michael Young, but Jimmy Rollins gets injured, especially Chase Utley. Ryan Howard, we saw him get injured for most of last season. Ben Revere is definitely a young guy, though, and Dominic Brown's also another young guy. Carlos Ruiz, he's a decent catcher, but he's starting to get old also. Delman Young, he's been getting a little bit injured lately, so I don't know. Now, I do like the rotation a lot. They still have Cole Hamels, Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay, Kyle Kendrick, John Lannon. You know, that's a really tough rotation. So that, if anything, if they were to be number 2 or compete for number 1, is because of their rotation, definitely. And plus they got a lot of depth at the bullpen, so that should help them out a lot. But I still have them at number 3 just because of their aging infield. And, you know, Utley always gets injured, so you can't really rely on him. At number 4, I got the New York Mets. You know, they got power hitters now like David Wright, Ike Davis, and Lucas Duda, and they also added veteran catcher John Buck. Then they got pitching depth at the starting rotation. Even though they did lose R.A. Dickey, they did add Sean Markham, so it should give them some pretty good, solid rotation. I mean, they do got 8 guys fighting for a starting position, like in the rotation. So Yeah, so I don't know about the bullpen though, so that could affect them. So I don't know, but definitely have them at number 4. And at number 5, I got the Miami Marlins. I mean, we saw them; they got rid of all their players, every single one of them, just to drop down their cap room. I mean, got rid of guys Jim Johnson, um, who else? Mark Burley, Hanley Ramirez, who was there for years, Jose Reyes. The weird thing about Jose Reyes is that I just saw this article where they were saying that the GM was telling Jose Reyes that he'll never trade him, um, and that he was going to be like their franchise player, and that he should buy a house in Miami. 2 days later, Jose Reyes finds himself in Toronto. So I don't know. And there's a lot of other guys, Emilio Bonifacio, and a few other guys all got traded off. Henley went to the Dodgers. So of course this whole team's just rebuilding now. They got rid of all their starting rotation, even though they do got good depth at starting rotation and good depth in the bullpen. That's still not telling me anything because their pitchers don't look that good anyways. And their offense, look at this, they got Logan Morrison, who has pretty good power but needs to stay healthy. Donovan Solano, we haven't seen much from him. Polanco, who's veteran, who could bring some pretty good leadership. Hechavarria, who's filling in some big shoes because he's replacing Jose Reyes at shortstop. Don't really know much about him. Juan Pierre, pretty good leadoff guy. Veteran help right there. He's really good. Giancarlo Stanton, of course, leading the team. Rob Brantley, Justin Ruggiano, some young guys. So definitely a young team. Starting rotation is young. Not very big names like Ricky Nolasco, Jacob Turner, Henderson Alvarez, and the list goes on. Steve Kishak, a decent closer, So they're definitely rebuilding on their pitching staff, on their offense. So we're just going to have to see in the next few years how that goes. But definitely they don't have very many big guys anymore. So definitely have them at number 5. And this is pretty much the end of the show. My name is Mo, and this is KCMO Sports. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment on our channel, and go like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter.